Thank you, Emmer. Okay. And we have a guest speaker today. This is Heather Elmer of the Chagrin River Watershed Partners Director.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Trustee Kavanaugh and Beverly and Troy for having me here tonight, and all of you. I just recently joined the Chagrin River Watershed Partners this past summer. Previous to that, I worked for the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and a number of universities around northern Ohio. How many of you are familiar with the Chagrin River Watershed Partners? Have you heard of us before? Okay, great. So Auburn Township has been a member of Chagrin River Watershed Partners since 2001. We were formed back in 1996 as a nonprofit organization by several communities within the Chagrin River Watershed. Since then, we've grown to 36 members that represents about 91% of our watershed, and we're supported by member dues and by grants to provide technical assistance. We really act as an extension of the staff of townships, municipalities, and park districts to help address flooding, erosion, water quality issues throughout the Chagrin River watershed. And we also really try to work when communities ask for our assistance to help focus on cost-effective ways to address these types of issues. And so here's just kind of a rundown of the types of services that CRWP provides. We're able to provide landowner assistance, and that might be if a landowner is having issues with a section of stream that's eroding on their property and they're looking for some technical assistance about how to address that stream bank erosion. We can assist with grants, whether that be to improve or make enhancements to public access or the resources within parks. Those could be local parks or county parks. We've assisted some communities with reviewing development plans to make sure that they're consistent with their zoning codes. We provide model codes for a whole range of things, from stormwater management to erosion and sediment control for new development, but also to help communities deal with things like flooding and their parking regulations and other issues associated with development. A lot of the work that we've done starting in the 90s and right up on through 2009 has to do with planning, to help plan the way that communities want to see, their future development occur, how they want to preserve their character, where they want to see economic development, where they have critical resources that they'd like to conserve. So we've worked with communities on developing a watershed action plan for the Chagrin River, but also on a balanced growth plan. And I know Auburn Township has endorsed that balanced growth plan and has signed on to that. That plan was finished back in 2009. We've done some work on removing dams, improving fish habitat as well throughout the watershed. So again, Auburn Township has been a member since 2001. And I just wanted to say a little bit about, not all of Auburn Township falls within the Chagrin River watershed. I believe about 17% of it does. And you have several tributaries. The South Branch of Silver Creek, McFarland Creek, and Smith Creek all fall within Auburn Township. And I believe a lot of the rest of the township is in the Cuyahoga River watershed. Is that correct? I just wanted to point out that because the township is a member, all of those types of services I mentioned, we provide those anywhere within the township, not just within the Chagrin River watershed. And we always do that in concert with any other, whether it be the planning, department, planning commission for Geauga County, the Park District, Geauga Soil and Water Conservation District. So here's just a map that kind of shows you, I believe that's Smith Creek in the pink, down in the southwest corner of the township, McFarland Creek in the kind of not so appealing green there in the middle, and the lower branch of Silver Creek is in the top left corner. So basically they're that, the western area of your township falls in the Chagrin River watershed. A little bit more about the type of planning assistance we've provided for the township in the past. The watershed plan as well as the balanced growth plan. We've also been able to provide some assistance along with the Geauga County Planning Commission and others on establishing riparian setbacks in the township. And we also have information available. I don't believe we've actually worked yet with the township on this, but we do have some model regulations available for parking. And all of this work that I've talked about in the past, some of you may know my predecessor, Amy Brennan. She was with the Chagrin River Watershed Partners for many, many years. And so a lot of this work would be work that she would have done with all of you, along with the rest of our staff. And a little bit about the balanced growth plan. I know all of the trustees, I believe, were here and serving as trustees when that plan was developed. But the idea with that plan is to identify priority areas for development and priority areas for conservation throughout the watershed. And each community that signed on to that plan developed a map with input from community members as well as the elected leaders of where they would like to see development and where they would like to see conservation occur within their community. And so here on this map you can see that the green areas are areas that Auburn Township identified as priorities for conservation, and the yellowish gold are areas that were identified as priorities for development. And I know that area, the intersection of 422 and 44 there, that was the Auburn Corners area, and we did work with the township and the County Planning Commission and some others on developing some potential plans for development in that area back in 2009. That's been a while, and I kind of understand, there was economic downturn, there maybe hasn't been, a lot of development activity going on, but that plan still exists, and I just wanted to kind of bring that back up, that's out there and available as a resource if this area, is something that the township wants to pursue in terms of development. The type of assistance we could provide going forward with realizing any aspect of this plan, if it's something that you still want to do, would be to help look at ways to improve stormwater infrastructure, if that may improve the buildability or marketability of some of those areas. So I just wanted to kind of bring this back up as something that was produced, and if it's anything that the township has interest in, we're happy to assist with anything we can do to facilitate implementing that plan. So this was, I think, the 44 and 422, the north side, and in the south of 422 there, this kind of shows some areas that were identified that might not be as appropriate for development due to steep slopes or wetlands or things like that. And then this was kind of a layout of where there would be decent areas where you could do some development in the area south of 422. And I believe a lot of what ended up in this plan was consistent with the township zoning code and kind of the how those parcels were already zoned, but I think there may have been a few areas that we wanted to move forward.
If you want to go back a couple slides, is the area there that's a cemetery on
south of Washington
where
there?
they show a development going in there. That's all cemetery now.
It's expanded? Okay.
We bought that
property,
great. And now that'll all be cemetery.
So that area has already met its end use and what it's going to be. Yeah.
We bought it in a foreclosure, a tax foreclosure.
Oh, great.
Needing cemetery space that, in the near future, at some point, township's covered for that for decades.
Right. Yeah.
Great.
So,
It was a property we were looking at for a few years to try to maybe negotiate something, and all of a sudden it came up for auction.
That's great.
Too good an opportunity not to take advantage of.
So that section, it sounds like you have, the decision's been made about how that will be used, and you did have some, I know, some residential planned and some mixed use planned there on east of 44. So, if it seems that there are opportunities in that regard and ways that could be facilitated, if there's anything we could do to assist, we'd be really happy to help out. And I just wanted to say a little bit more about how we could assist the township going forward. I know a couple years ago, Amy and the CRWP staff reached out to all of our members and just said, hey, how else could we assist you going forward? And this is a list that I gleaned out of that and just from conversations with Amy and other staff that we heard in terms of feedback of how we could be helpful going forward with the township. A lot of it has to do with education for residents about stream stewardship and the township's riparian setbacks, a little bit in terms of developer education. I had a request recently to possibly look into some signage that helps people understand what watershed they're in throughout the township. And, and then always we're here to assist with land use and zoning issues. We're able to do reviews of zoning codes and just, we can offer suggestions. We have a set of model codes that we try to keep up to date with the best and, most recent information in terms of scientific information about good development practices, but then also if there are regulations that would impact what you're doing. So, and so this is just, this is what I was able to glean from some conversations with Amy and others, but I thought I'm here and, either today or anytime, myself and any member of our staff, there's 4 of us, are available to respond to the needs or interests of the Township trustees. I know we've worked a lot with the zoning department in the past, and also residents. If a resident has a particular issue or concern related to flooding or erosion, we're always happy to come out for a site visit. So if you have any thoughts, please let me know. I know Jane said that you have a park that you've recently acquired as well.
Yeah, well, we're kind of in the process of soft opening it now. There's some organized events going on with Kenston Community Ed up there, and we just opened a passive walking trail through the woods.
Great.
And it's coming as it comes. Hopefully baseball and playground next year is that's my hope for next year. So.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And if any suggestions either now or in the future, my contact information is up here, and I can be reached by email or phone, and my colleagues are also available. So do you have any
Well, we've
any
used
questions?
your services in many instances, and we found them to be very professional, and I think I personally am very happy with everything, and
well, that's good to hear.
done some issues. We had some issues with some subdivisions, and
but rather significant with the one that bordered on Bainbridge Township.
Right.
You've helped in a lot of these things, lot assessments, everything as mundane as lot assessments in certain areas, and I'd like to add outside of the Chagrin watershed too. It's in the township.
in our township.
But we had some significant issues with a subdivision that borders Bainbridge, and I'm going to say your predecessor pretty much sealed the deal on how that worked, and it worked out to the benefit of the township there.
We had riparian for how long have we had riparian now? So at least 5 years.
It's like the early 2004 or something. I said.
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to say, and I think we'll have to look this up, but I think we're charter members there since '96.
Oh, since '96?
I do.
Okay. If you are, my apologies. It was you were in our annual report as having joined in 2001, so that would have been a mistake.
With Kyle Dreyfus is how we started.
Kyle Dreyfus.
Oh, well, then you would have been.
But we were most definitely members when she was there.
And Tom Denbo.
Yes.
Remember that name too?
Right.
So I will double check, because as of our last year's annual report, it had you down as joining in 2001, so that would have been a mistake that we don't want to repeat. So I'll make sure that we're...
All I can say is it might have something to do with dues. I remember dues being $500 at one point. A lot of years ago.
Yeah.
So I know that was pre-2001. I think we were charter members.
Okay. Well, I will definitely look into that and make sure we don't continue.
You know how important
that
the function is. We built our house in '91, and pretty much at that stage of the game, anything was, as long as you were filling the ditch in front of your house, anything else was fair game.
Fair game, yeah.
As long as you can make the water go from your yard to your neighbor's yard, that's all you can do.
Good.
Yeah, so it was pretty interesting back then.
Yeah.
Significant assistance when we were part of the Phase 2 as well. I think you guys actually developed all the I'm going to have a hard time pulling the acronym
The codes,
out.
like the erosion.
Yeah, it's not the codes. It was the preferred best BMPs.
Your BMPs, yeah.
That's it.
Acronyms, government
Yeah,
acronyms.
Yeah, I got that mentioned.
There's a lot going on because of Auburn Lakes and the amount of population there and how that was clustered and getting away from the remainder of the townships. Like, well, that's not really indicative of everything else. Yeah, somehow you got us out of it. Saved us.
Well, we're back in now, so.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're here for. Anything we have mapping expertise, some planning expertise, some ecological assessment type expertise, and then also that kind of policy code review. And we also work. We really partner. We partner with other soil and water districts, the planning commissions, and others. So we work where we have complementary skills. And we make sure that we're coordinating always with the township and others. So
I don't know if you know Frank Kicko, our zoning inspector.
She mentioned you today. It's very nice to meet you.
This is our fire chief, John Phillips.
Nice to meet you.
And then Emmerich Gordon, who heads up all of the road department.
Great, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you all.
Well,
nice to meet everyone that's here.
I can just say, from my point of view, you've been tremendous help to our zoning, and like when we redid the riparian map a few years back, Jane worked real closely with Amy and your office and got that all. And anytime we've ever needed any expertise as far as, because we're not wetlands experts by any means, but you've always been right there to help us, and I appreciate it, and I know that sometimes it's hard for individuals. They think they own all this property that's got all this water on it, and when I tell them, well, you own it, but you don't own it, they don't like that term. Right? I have to explain, it belongs to the government, in some cases, but your office has been very, very helpful for, to my office of zoning, as far as anytime we've had any issues with wetlands or requiring a delineation, so we really appreciate it.
Great. Well, thank you. I look forward to getting to know the township better. I have some family that live in Burton, so I'm a little bit familiar with this area. But Trustee Kavanaugh said he would give me a tour at some point, and then I told Jane I'd come down and meet with her or you sometime. So I'd be happy to do that. So great. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time.
Thanks so much for coming down. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'll just turn this off, and we'll take care of it. There we go.
Thank you for sharing all that with us. Really appreciate it. Okay, moving on, we have the minutes from the regular meeting of October 20th. I went through them and didn't find anything that I disagreed with.
I don't agree with that, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
John?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike? Yes. Okay, scheduled reports. Frank?
I shall have a copy of October's activities and process 13 applications for 13 permits. The number one was 4 fences applications. We did, of course, have one commercial new, which you'll see the building is finally going to be on the old Hamilton property. The building has now been delivered, and that's been quite some time since that was proposed, but now the building is finally, the steel was delivered, I think, last Thursday or Friday, so that should be going up. We did have one more new house, which brings new houses for the year to 16, which I think is double what we were last year, so, for the whole year. And again, of course, with erosion issues this time of year, with now that these builders now have to seed or mulch because the grass is not going to grow, so they have to kind of mulch and protect the open land. So some of them need a little push to do that, but between my office and soil and water, it's getting done. So, and I think you should all have a copy of the proposal we received from on Ellipse's proposal down there. I don't expect you to make any kind of decisions now or anything, because I just got it myself, but it's theirs. They finally have sent the site plan. I would like to see, my personal opinion, I think we should have one full-size plan, not some 8.5 by 11 for two lots. Let's have one full-size to scale, some kind of scale plan proposed. But at least they've given us something to look at and work with. So, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Any questions for Frank? Everett Gordon, Highway Supervisor.
All right, Auburn Township Road Department report for October 2014. The Auburn Community Park Trail was finished and work begun on the Eagle Scout Bridge project. The decking, the approved decking for the Scout Bridge project is in. It will be picked up, and I believe he should be finishing here within the next week or so. Get that decking on there. Also, the park, we were able to keep up even with any inclement weather. We did mow weekly. So I do want to talk with you guys. I spoke with Mr. Everly here. I actually have a volunteer next year for mowing, our own Forrest Gump, that would like to mow the park for free. So he does have a insurance, $2 million insurance umbrella on himself and his equipment, and he's very civic minded and just would like to volunteer his time. He's a retired gentleman.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Pardon me?
Who's that?
This would be a Randy Hankins over on Stafford Road.
To run our mower?
Yeah, you're right, our mark. Decorative pear tree was removed at Adam Hall, and a replacement of similar size was planted in its place. And I do want to thank Mike Atall bringing this to our attention, also helping us size the tree and pointing us in the right direction as we're to do the purchase. Roadside mower was out on numerous occasions, and we did cut brush on various streets where signage and or sight distance was compromised. And once again, we'll keep that going out and do some of the back bays. Trees were marked on Stafford Road for removal. This is the first step in the reconstruction process. This week I will solicit various companies for sealed quotes, which is the way we're going to do this and approach it. And hopefully by next meeting I should have a few quotes back on the trees. We had 2 full interments in the cemeteries for the month, and the footers are up to date. We had several headstones that were knocked, not off of their footers, but nudged just a bit. And once again, I'll bring it up to JFD's attention that it's possible that their mower did. There was 3 in a row. We did straighten them up. Something happened early on. They were good. And this is just a recent event here that just happened. We'll take care of that. We did have 1 dry pipe replaced on Franks Road and some minor ditching. And also the evaluation and our maintenance of the equipment for winter service began in the month of October. It looks like we have snow coming this weekend. So we may put that into use. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Emmerich.
You are welcome.
Any questions for Emmerich? Okay, reports, Mr. Everly.
Well, it would be difficult for me to improve on Mr. Gordon's speech. We do have all of our projects completed.
I do have the Phil Miller projects coming up.
I was going to say, except for the concrete pads, and he's assured us that he's still going to take care of it. We do have an invoice for the asphalt project that came in with the final numbers on it. And
Want to take care of that later?
yeah, we're going to need to make a motion here to approve a change order, which would result in a decrease in $27,921.10. So that would be my motion.
Okay. Can I get a second? I'll second that. John?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike? Yes.
And then that would make another motion to pay Chagrin Valley Paving Incorporated $380,214 for the asphalt project for 2014.
Second. John?
Yes.
PJ? Yes. Mike?
Yes. And that's all I have.
Mr. Kavanaugh.
Since what I was going to talk about is on the agenda under new business, I'm just going to pass and I'll get to that later.
Want to say something about?
Oh, well, yeah, we should. We certainly should. Our longtime road superintendent, one of your predecessors, Emmerich, we were lucky to have him here for as many years as he did. I think he started here in '79. We lost Howard Benjamin, retired 97?
99.7.
That's about when we hired you, right?
Right when he was here when
but he did come back. Of course, we brought him back. He did some mowing. He knew where, for lack of a better phrase, where the bodies were buried here. But it's more like culverts and stuff, actually. And he, almost 20 years here in the township, and years of experience with engineering and things like that before he got here. I'm fortunate to have him, and we'll miss him. He was a source of information right up until he went in the hospital. So.
Just want to say I worked with Howard when I started in, and you couldn't find a nicer gentleman. Couldn't find a nicer guy, and I think Emmerich, you say he was a great guy to work with, and just a pleasant guy, and so yeah, we're really going to miss Howard.
Yes, can I pass that to you guys? Because I was got a nuclear kid on a block and met Howard a few times and dealt with him on some stuff, but you guys had his whole history. So.
We had some good stories with Howard. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Okay, Fred. This here. Got in front of you warrants 1998 through 2017, totaling $20,987.79 for your signatures. Also giving you the revenue status report, fund status report, and appropriation status report as of today's date. Just to point out on the appropriation status report, total year-to-date expenditures at this point are at a little over 70% of budget, so our expenditures are 30% under budget, so we're doing pretty good. As they say, it ain't over till it's over. Well, it ain't over till it's over, but I don't see us spending too much more. At least I don't think we're going to go over 80% of budget. Good. Speaking of which, I need more money to pay bills. So I've got some supplemental appropriations here that I've asked for in a resolution that I put before you. And what I'm asking for is a total of $12,300 as follows. We need $500 in the fund for postage, $10,000 in the admin fund for medical hospitalization, which would take us into, hopefully should cover the beginning of next year, and then $1,800 in a new fund account that I would like to open for rents and leases. We have never had a specific fund that we could take money out of to pay for refunds on Adam Hall deposits. Okay. And so there is an expense fund for rents and leases that I'd like to use to pay those out of, because otherwise they're coming out of like general fund, contracted services, or wherever we can scrape the money out of an Adam Hall fund. Okay, makes sense. That'd be a new account, easier to track.
And 690 is a new code, right?
690, and then the object is 321.
690 is that we're not using that code right now, right?
No. 690-321.
No, would that be when they make the deposit payment? Would that go into that fund?
I
There is a separate revenue fund for rents and leases that it would go into, but it's not going to populate. This has to be appropriated. It doesn't just automatically go in and fund this expense account.
Yeah, this is an expense account as opposed to a revenue account.
I can't, because I know, I thought about that, what can we do? They're in the same, both the revenue account and the expense account are in the same fund or program in that 690.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Well, I get it, but where's the deposits going then? Because honestly, it's the same money coming back out.
Right.
Really.
It goes into a fund called rents and leases. It's a revenue fund.
Is that going to be new too?
Yeah, we already
Where
have
is it?
that.
Where is it?
That would not be on the appropriation. That would only be, I'd have to print out a fund report. There's a fund.
I mean, what I'm getting at is just for clarity's sake, pretty much those two amounts are going to match.
Here it is. In this 1,802 fund, if you look on the revenue status report,
What's this one here?
the revenue fund that was set up is 1,802.
Yeah. Okay.
And so everything that comes in from rentals goes into that,
Okay, so
including deposits and the rental fee itself.
will we then be transferring will this then stay there, or will we be transferring from this account the refund amounts?
It has to be appropriated.
Okay,
I don't have a vehicle to just take the money and transfer it over.
okay, so this will just
We
stay
actually
here.
have to set it aside as a budget item
Budget item,
until I can figure out how to do otherwise.
okay.
Basically, at the beginning of the year, we're going to have to say we need approximately $5,000 or whatever it is set aside for refunds.
Okay. I don't see any problem with doing that.
It's an awkward way to do it, but it's the only way that I can see to do it in the UAN system.
Is that 1,802? Is that only for? That's in the revenue funds. That's only for deposits and things on Adam Hall, or I suppose over here
And
too.
over at the town hall,
Yeah.
too,
Well, as long as then so one should pretty much match the other at the end of the year, correct?
Right.
Right. Then I get it.
Okay. In that case, I will make a motion to approve Resolution 2014-16 for supplemental appropriations for the fiscal year 2014 for a total of $12,300.
well, second.
John?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes. So I just have to sign it.
And I'll take care of
Okay.
That's all I've got.
Okay. No old business, and in the new business, then we have we have a cemetery deed to sign. Okay. Okay. The change order for Okay. And we have we received a Suddenlink franchise fee for $2,454.41. And I'll make a motion that has gone into the general fund already since we received it.
It has been received to the general fund, yes.
I'll make a motion to transfer that to the Land Acquisition and Improvement Fund.
I'll second.
John?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And like this man door up there at the garage, were we using the lock, or were we doing with the lock?
And which garage?
Replace, repair, service department man door.
Yeah, we use the lock on that, yeah.
We reuse the lock.
Is that a requisition you just got in?
Yeah.
Okay. That way everything is same foot and nothing's fun.
Okay, Chief, do we have the requisition in for that, for the repair for the HVAC?
Yes.
HVAC?
That's
Is that in there? Okay. All right. And one thing that with the completion of the generator project at the road department, we need to transfer the purchase price for the generator from the road fund into the fire department fund. So that's $5,000 that we can transfer in there. So to make a motion to transfer that amount.
I'll second that.
So Emmerich, you're waiting for your first blackout now, so you can try
No,
it.
not necessarily.
Yeah, you're set. You're hooked up.
They already had their first blackout, but they weren't there when it happened.
Mhm.
Is that the way it always works?
Beautiful thing.
Okay.
The good thing,
John?
yes.
PJ?
There
Yes.
will be more.
Mike?
Yes. Okay. And we have a quote for gutters for the
That's the park.
storage building.
Should we be guttering that water right now, or is that just going to cause more erosion?
It's going to cause more erosion.
You got to have someplace to put them.
We did have a discussion at the park about running some 8-inch down the trench.
Right.
Which would, I guess we do the trenching ourselves then, possibly, or...
Yeah, but I think we need to hook them up. You
We're
can
talking about-
already see that you're starting to get ruts along the edges of the...
Well, yeah, it's going to have to be done, but we got to have someplace to put the water. Otherwise, you're just concentrating it. It's going to wash harder where it is.
Right. Now, our idea is to have them all hooked together in one run, and then we would shoot that down towards the driveway, and it would actually be on the west side that we would come out into the ditch line.
And catch it'll be in the...
It'll be in the
retention
ditch, yeah.
thing.
And then utilize an 8-inch pipe
I agree.
to catch all that. We talked about 4 runs, PJ, coming off the building, but I think, as you said, I think we're just going to create a muddy mess there.
Mark and I, Stern was up there Saturday too, and we were kind of talking about that and walking through it. And yeah, I don't see any sense in guttering it and concentrating it right now because.
Is this a quote from Blue Pines or?
No.
This is
It's from.
ProFlow Seamless Gutters Limited
Yeah.
out of Manaway.
Okay, let's get back with them and revisit this and tell them our idea, unless we would run the 8-inch ourselves.
It's got to have somewhere to go. That's,
Yeah.
you know.
Well,
Yeah, we would.
We'll run the
We
8-inch,
got a
okay.
1-foot bucket in, why don't we just do that?
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to table this until we get a concrete action for?
Yeah, until we're ready to.
Okay.
Well, I think we can agree to go ahead and put it into a, pipe it down to the west side of the driveway. And
Hey, I'll tell you what, this quote just came in, 4 days ago? Let's see where we're at in 2 weeks.
Okay. All right.
You won't be busy plowing snow or anything, so maybe.
No, the only thing is taking the backhoe off out of the grass there and doing any damage if it gets any softer, any more weather.
Okay. And did you guys have a chance to take a look at this landscape agreement for putting the stone out front?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we have the placement, removing hallway existing railroad ties, dry lay the unilock Brussels dimensional system, standard stones to recreate the new walls. Walls follow the same footprint as is out here. Stone secured in place with stone adhesive. And so the total on that is $2,092.81.
The railroad ties out there are all rotten. They are.
Yeah, that's got to be replaced. It makes sense to do it once and do it right and be done with it. So I'll make a motion to accept.
They gonna build it this year then, or what are they gonna do? You know.
I don't know what the time frame is. I thought they'd be to do it before the year's out.
Take the bulbs out and redo them. Is that in there? Or?
Yeah, it's part of it.
Yeah.
Removing hallway the existing.
well, there's geotext in there, so you can just take the ties out and that'll probably stay there.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
There was an Eagle Scout project.
Yeah. So there's no plantings involved in this anyway. So yeah, you're right, John. That must stay in place. As long as we make it clear that stays, they're taking the third out because that's, that's what's there and that's been okay.
Right.
So.
The question comes up on something like this. We're always looking for Eagle Scout projects. Would this be something we could just set aside and put under that purview? If somebody's looking at that type of project?
Kids do ask. Now we can't, we don't.
I know one thing.
I don't know who the next Eagle Scout is. Let me put it that way. So.
And I know one thing that came up at the park is a few people had mentioned charcoal grills out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think that'd be a perfect project. Those are single post jobs.
On the ground.
So.
Yeah.
So it's something we could set aside. Table it till spring. If an Eagle Scout project.
The concern is that the ties were pretty bad shape.
Okay, so it's a
They
little more.
wanted to have it.
More time sensitive?
Yeah, a little more time sensitive than that, so.
Okay.
And, you don't know when the next kid,
Right.
And
Based on
really,
that,
we I don't think we want to get to the point where we have a list of.
Nothing's getting
You'd rather have the kids come with an idea,
Right.
then have us request. It's a wonderful troop up there. They've done a great job, and I can tell you that those kids, they're seeing this park as a way to convert themselves to the Eagle Scouts and do some good stuff for the township.
Well, I think we could probably generate enough projects up at the park for the next couple
I
of
would
years.
tend to agree, and like I said, you'd rather have proposals come your way than requests go the other way.
Okay, Jason, now I'll stick with it. I'll make a motion to accept their agreement for the walls for the $2,092.81.
I'll second. Somehow I think that job will be highly supervised too.
Yeah.
John?
Yes.
DJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes. I guess that'll be enough. I signed one.
That was Greg Durkar who did that. He built the sign for Town Hall and the Administration Building at the same time.
All right. Okay, that's it for new business. Public comment? Diane?
Yes, warrant 2,000 for Bell Tire in the amount of $2,564.94. What was that for?
Truck tires.
And
Truck
16 tires.
16 tires?
Truck tires for truck 16.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Big dump
truck tires.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there was like
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tires.
Was it 6 tires altogether?
6 tires.
Six
Okay.
tires.
What happens to the old ones then? They just get scrapped or
They take them in and we have to pay a charge for them to recycle the
dispose
tires.
of them?
Dispose, correct. We do the same thing as
So
anybody
this
else.
warrant then covers that
Everything.
fee as well?
The whole thing, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just one price we pay.
Okay.
Mike, I got something for you. The Fire Devils asked me to relay to the board their sincere thanks for letting them use Auburn Hall last Saturday. The consultants fair was a success, and they really appreciated the board helping them.
Okay. Tell them they're welcome. Anything we can do to help them out. Any other comments? Okay, in that case, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. Go vote tomorrow, everyone? Tomorrow, right?
John?
Yes.
DJ?
Yes.
Yes.
Call the lead.
Do you hear a lot of